Tommy Pham, solid player. People going nuts. They're crazy. Pham is a solid addition. I mean, Duvall with the power, whatever, but you don't know how healthy he would be. Pham can actually play the outfield. He can run a little bit. I like his makeup. I like that he's a veteran. He could hit you 20 home runs potentially, depending on how many at-bats he gets. But now what about the left-handed DH? Why do we have to see, and all due respect, if there's nothing personal with Vogelbach.
Sal. Smell the eucalyptus, okay, Sal? Come on.
Okay. You're talking to me.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah,
listen, Daniel Vogelbach is not as bad as you think. You have this misconception about him.
I do?
Yes, absolutely, that he's this awful player. 830 OPS during his Mets
That's what everyone... This is not working. That's what everyone keeps saying, the OPS.
Smell the eucalyptus.
What does he... Seriously, what does he do as a ball player? Like, if you ask me what Tommy Pham does...
He had 18 home runs last year in between 2 stops. He would have been 4th on the Mets. If he had been there the whole season. I mean,
he doesn't hit with power. He can't field. He can't run. He can't throw.
Give him a whole season to settle in.
And since when are you obsessed with 5-tool players there? This guy mashes, okay? He's an effective offensive player. I'm not saying that he's Babe Ruth or Shohei Ohtani or anything like that, but he is a solid left-handed platoon DH. I think this is, for all the problems that the Mets may or may not have this year, Sal, I think you are looking to make this a problem when it really isn't.
Yeah, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Give him a second to get there and show you what he's made of. He's got the muscles.
Inside, I'm still fired up right now.
Fine.
You guys are not working.
You know how many Met regulars had an OPS over 830 last year?
But if you say OPS, this is what I see. You look at the numbers. What I see is a guy who goes up to the plate, who is looking for a walk. He looks like he should be hitting 30 homers a year. He's looking for a walk, and then when he does get on base, he clogs up the base pass.
He's going to surprise you this year.
And their pitching versatility and having guys that can be flexible. Well, if Pete Alonso needs a day off at first, is Vogelbach going to play first base? And I'm not picking on Vogelbach. He's had a solid career, a decent career. I expect more for the Mets. With this DH spot, that's what we're looking at now. Tommy Pham and Daniel Vogelbach. I like Pham because he can do other things. With Vogelbach, you guys aren't.
Now you're drunk on versatility like the rest of baseball.
No, I don't want to be.
You can only play 7 positions,
how about
or we
this?
don't want you.
I want one great skill. Can he hit with power?
He gets on base.
Can he hit with high average? No. He gets on base, but that's not the guy you want getting on base. I want a guy who can...
But this isn't the 70s anymore where you got to get a guy on base and steal second and then bunt him over to third and get a sac fly.
Goose Fraba. All right, let's make the call to the bullpen and welcome in Terry Collins. Terry, what do you think of the Mets adding Tommy Pham to their ball club now?
I like Tommy Pham a lot. Sal, you brought up some points. Tommy Pham's got some skills. He can run a little bit. He's got some power. I'll tell you what I like about him. He plays with intensity. This guy plays to win. He plays to beat you. And I like him in a lineup. I think as a 4th outfielder, he's great. It allows you to get a guy, one of those other guys, and get them off their feet for a game, and they can DH from the right side. I mean, that 4th outfielder who can spell somebody, and yet you can keep that bat in the lineup is very, very important in today's game.
Right, he's not really a DH, and calling him that would be... They're going to use that spot, as you said, Terry, to rest some guys, but he's going to be obviously a part-time DH. I like Pham because he's a gamer. How about the Mets here overall with that DH spot? We saw it come into play for the National League a year ago. Obviously, it was one of the weak spots for the Mets, Terry. Are they making a mistake by not pursuing a full-time DH?
Well, again, Sal, I always try to give the benefit of the doubt. They might know more about what's going on with the DH position. For me, a DH position should be hitting 7th in your lineup. A DH position is a guy who drives in runs, who produces runs. Now, if you have Ricky Henderson, let him lead off, let him get on base, let him score some runs. But otherwise, if you have your DH hitting down in the lineup, I just don't see where that really helps you out. For me, he's got to be hitting 5th or 6th, maybe 6 at the tops. And so, I know they like the platoon, but I think they've done a pretty good job of putting this team together. And maybe, as Danny said, you know what, we'll give these guys some time. But let me tell you something. With what the payroll is this year and what the expectations are, you don't get a whole year to prove yourself.
You heard Terry agreed with me, so we can end the show now. We're good to go. Okay, I don't like the platoon at all. I do think that it should be one person's job to have it. But clearly the Mets think that they have something right with the balance they have with their lineup. Let me tell you this. If Brett Beatty would have played a full year, I know we'll talk about that later, they would have been top 10 in power last season. He hit 21 combined between his minor league and then his major league home runs. Also, Tommy Pham, I like this guy for a lot of reasons. He adds value to this team. He's played for contenders. He's played in difficult divisions, and better yet, in 2019, we're going to go back a second. He hit 21 home runs, and had 25 stolen bases. Do you know how hard that is to do in the game today? Like, he has the speed, he has the pop, so I think he can be put in. Do I think he can be the full-time DH? No. Do I think they're going to platoon and it's not going to be my favorite thing to watch? Yes. But they have some kind of formula they think is going to work for them. So I want a full-time guy, but I'll settle for what is here. I want to see Brett Beatty be full-time. I want to see the power combined with the rest of that lineup.
Yeah, I think the state of their DH guys may offer them some opportunities to give the young players some at-bats at that position at some point during the season. I'm not saying on opening day or anything like that, but as we go along through the schedule. Look, I like Tommy Pham, too, for all the reasons that you guys articulated. I would have preferred Adam Duvall because he addressed a specific need that the Mets have, which is hitting the ball, to me, hitting the ball over the fence. That's one of his specialties. He's an excellent defender as well. That didn't work out. He obviously signed elsewhere. And I think Tommy Pham is a good addition to this team. I'm not wound up about the DH. I know that it was kind of a black hole for them last year, offensively, stats-wise. I think there's room for them to do better this year, and so I'm optimistic. Their 1 through 5 is really good, so they should generate runs.